be a very sad day when everything's 5th gen aircraft. They just won't. It's like what they do with cars, isn't it? They're all going to look the same and they're going to have no soul.
I mean, you can still see difference between the cars in different companies, even the most newest ones.
Yeah, but it's like all that stuff like you had in the 60s, isn't it? With all the, all the curves and the angled wings and stuff like that. It's not very aerodynamic, is it? So it all changes and they all end up designed by computer and, yeah.
I know what I was talking about. For example, let's take the newest Ford with all the
screen, all the stuff.
Yeah, with all the stuff, like for example, hitting on the steering wheel, the seat, and everything. Then let's take the exact same car, but Mercedes. Like they're gonna be different. They're gonna feel different. They're gonna drive different.
I suppose what I mean is, though, the likes of Mirages, Harriers, and all those, Vigans, and all these pretty different jets. It's just, yeah, it's not going to happen again, is it?
Before standardization.
Yeah, multi-role aircraft have kind of gone out the window, haven't they? I mean not multi-role. You know what I mean? Single role.
The other thing you got to think is you're getting similar requirements from all the different countries, so you're going to get similar looking airplanes to do the same kind of roles. That's why all the Boeings all look the same. It's not because they want them to look like that. It's because the math makes that work really well.
Yeah, people have learned best practices and stuff too. Like everybody's got a heads-up display because it just makes sense, right?
Yeah, I was listening. I could get this wrong. I don't know if it was a podcast or I read it. So the F-35, is it? Doesn't actually have a heads-up display. If you physically look in the aircraft, there isn't one there, but it's the helmet-mounted display. As you turn your head to the front, it draws the hood, and then when you look out to the right, the hood disappears.
It's in the helmet, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you actually need to have a physical HUD in the plane when you have it in the helmet?
Well,
probably
actually,
not.
I saw an article interviewing an F-35 pilot, and he said that he thinks that the F-22 is better because it has the helmet-mounted display, but it also has a physical heads-up display. Because you can't really see much out of the helmet-mounted simulated HUD. He said he would basically prefer having a physical HUD.
I mean, having two HUDs at the same time, I would say it's a good thing. And for example, if you look forward, then the HUD on the helmet-mounted display disappears, and you only see the physical HUD.
Yeah, that's how the Hornet works.
Case, for example, if the helmet-mounted display stops working, you can have the physical HUD, and if the physical HUD stops working, you have the helmet-mounted display. You have the two as a backup in case one fails.
Yeah, that's exactly how the Hornet works. There's actually a button on the HOTAS that blanks the HMD off and on.
The big thing for why some of the 35 drivers don't like not having a HUD is kind of a twofold thing. One, it's new, so it's kind of like people who are used to one way don't like new stuff. But also the second thing is their complaint is that being on the helmet, it's kind of really small and in your face is their issue.
Yeah, that's kind of how that guy described it.
Evening.
Hello.
Evening, Nibbler.
Evening, Nibbler. Hello.
How we doing, boys? How do I spot tanks in built-up areas easily if I've got a FLIR lightning pod?
I would say with the ground-moving map, ground-moving radar.
I think the one he's on about, though, I bet they're not moving, are they?
Yeah, and being in a city, it's going to be hard to pick them up unless you go into one of the more finer maps of it with the ground radar. With the FLIR pod, your best bet is to try IR to see if you can pick out the heat signatures. But aside from that, it's going to be a lot of just kind of looking.
Yeah, roger that. God, the irony. I can see the cars down there all the time.
Thinking traffic's over launch in Cat 3.
Like a roller shooting Cat 1.
Well, we finally got one of the two things I wanted for the Harrier, which is the APKWS. Now, for the next thing, I want them to add the nose radar from the post 2 version.
Yeah, that's still going to be, I'm assuming, a ways off at this point.
I heard they're going to do it as soon as they finish with the F18's radar, because they're going to use the exact same one for the Harrier.
I think the 16 as well has a lot of overlap in code with the 18.
I think someone had mentioned that the 18 we have in DCS doesn't use the same radar. And I believe they're saying that the 18 we have in DCS is APG 73.
Yeah. What should it be?
Well, the original radar for the F-18 was APG 65, and when they went to APG 73, the unused APG 65s went to the Harrier 2 pluses, and they got APG 65s.
Which means they use air-to-ground seed missiles, the HARMS missiles, sorry, and they can also use the AIM-120s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I wanted so much.
Are they going to put AIM-120s on the Harrier?
Like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
No, are they? Are they going to do that, though?
I'm hoping so. Like, that's what I heard. Like, as soon as they finish the F-18's radar, they're gonna use it for the Harrier.
Cool. Oh, that would be terrifying. Imagine a Harrier just hovering in the middle of a valley, shooting off AMRAAMs at people.
You cannot shoot if you're hovering.
Oh, you can't?
No. You need to have nozzles at maximum 30 degrees. If it's more than that, you cannot shoot.
Oh. Aerial sand. That would be cool, though.
You could very quickly put it to below 30 fire and then go back to hover.
It's a safety feature because if you're hovering and you shoot a missile, I think the heat from the missile can heat up the plane, or maybe it's a safety reason so you don't drop.
I think you'd be if you were in a hover, it'd unstabilise you massively. You just lost the weight, and a rocket motor's just gone off underneath your wing, hasn't it?
Gas ingestion is what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, that's the thing as well.
If that rocket engine sucks, if the jet engine sucks up the rocket exhaust, which is not air, it's going to kill the engine, and you're hovering, and you need that engine, so you might not want to do that.
Also, I don't know why they added there's a limit. You need to be above, I'm not sure how much RPM in order to actually use the machine gun, which means you cannot do slow passes.
Well, that's because the gun in the Harrier is gas. It's gas driven, and it runs off the exhaust, or runs off of ECS air coming off the motor. So it's coming off the compression section.
So it's not electrical.
Correct.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
British ingenuity.
Well, it's an American gun, so.
As always, we invent it, we give it to the Yanks, and they just,
mass produce it.
Fix it. I mean, look how nice it looks. I remember when Cap was interviewing the Harrier engineer, one of my questions was, does he think the Harrier is more sexy, the American one, than the UK one? And he said, yeah. And then Cap was like, yeah, wrong answer.
Oh, I thought they looked the same. They don't?
No, the nose is different.
The what?
The nose is
The
very
nose is
different.
Oh.
Yep.
Also, the wings are a bit different. Actually, when you look at it, like the entire show is almost different.
Yeah, it looks a lot different. What they call them, Kesslers or something like that.
Well, that was the original Harrier, was the Kessel. But
Kestrel.
the-
Kestrel.
Kestrel,
Yeah, Kestrel.
thank you.
Yeah. But the Harrier FRSs and stuff are still Harriers. It's just the British did it slightly different way. The British have an extra pylon in each wing, and they have a different radar for theirs.
Yeah, they have 4 pylons in each wing, unlike this one which has 3.
I think it's a problem with everything we do, the Brits, is because our defence budget is so small, everything is literally done to a budget, not necessarily done to give our forces the best, it's just what we can afford, I think.
Wait, as there's UK people here, do you think like leaving the European Union is a good thing?
No, stupidest thing we ever did.
We were having that conversation
Try.
yesterday.
Try and
We
leave
were,
politics out of here.
Yeah.
But that will limit you to going to the other countries as well, even if it's a bit, right?
It's like I said, they're not really going to make it harder for us to visit European countries for holiday because it's just going to be damaging to them. If it's going to make it harder to say visit.
Also students.
But it's like the way they sold it was about how much money we would have. But actually, that case in point again with all the trucks trying to get out of Dover and do their bloody job, we've just put in a massive paperwork and sort of bureaucracy they have to jump through. We've actually added and made things more expensive. Did you see that? I mean, they were turning stuff. Was it salmon was being? Yeah, they were having to throw the stuff away, weren't they? Because they couldn't get it. Because people, for 20 odd years or whatever it is, haven't been filling in any of this paperwork because they didn't have to. And then if your paperwork's not right, you can't come in.
They were having to feed the people in the lines because they were sitting in traffic jams for so long. Yeah, I heard about that. It's crazy.
We had another article in the Beeb, so I believe it. They're talking about people have been receiving gifts, for example. Someone had some earrings sent to them and then had a bill before it could be delivered of like 60 odd pound because there was VAT on it and import duty. And they're saying even be careful when you buy through Amazon from third-party sellers because if it comes from Europe, you could be hit with additional expenses that aren't actually advertised on the site.
I did it before. I bought some golf club heads from America, and I got them mega cheap. They were amazing. They're like I think it worked out about 35 quid or something like that. And then they worked out the import duty because there was none on it. Because I discovered what was inside, and they charged me about 70 quid's worth of fucking import tax. They decided it was worth loads more.
Yeah, but I suppose the difference is we know that if you get caught, we know that happens with the US, though, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't think, again, us Joe Public, we're quite ignorant to all these things that, I don't think we know the half of it, what's going to happen.
It's true.
I don't buy anything from the US because you're going to have some fucking hammer with your tax.
Well, my mother-in-law years ago, she used to go over to the States. She used to holiday a lot. She used to go over with an empty suitcase.
Yeah, I know people who should do that as well.
Buy loads of stuff, jeans, anything, electronics. If you can get, as long as you don't, she'd unbox stuff, take the labels off. Bit naughty, really, but yeah, because if you get, the savings you can make are huge, but if you get caught, it costs you a fortune to get it into the country.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mate of mine used to fly over to buy parts for his Mustang, and he brought them back all wrapped up in his socks. best one was when he was stopped at customs because he had a load of fuel injectors, and apparently through the X-ray machine they looked like bullets.
Nice.
Oh dear.
Sorry guys, I'm still trying to get this tank. So what do I do with the flare to try to? Oh, I'm after the infrared, aren't I?
Yeah, I mean, it is just difficult, isn't it, to find little things like that? Unless there's loads of them.
Yeah, or they open fire on you.
Yeah.
You kind of got to circle for a while, don't you, and scan every little inch of it.
Yeah, I know when I've read stuff about, I like the aviation and stuff like that, so I've read quite a few books that a lot of the analogies they use, they say using these T-pods, it's like trying to find something through a drinking straw.
Well, it is the distance you're at, isn't it, really?
The couple camera, whatever, the CCD, is it? The difference in those two to flare. What's the actual difference in those two?
One's a TV. It's no good at night, for example. Charge coupled device. So I think that's your TV image. So it might be a better defined image and sharper in the day when you've got enough light, and the flare will be, obviously you can use that at night, picks up thermal signatures, but it might be a bit more blurry.
Yeah. CCDs are like what you expect to see in your digital cameras and stuff like that, where the image is bouncing off of a conductive layer, and that's how it gets represented, so it is a little bit sharper and more crisp. And then the old TVs were pretty much like an old television set, pretty much. And your IR works kind of like CCDs do, but in a different spectrum of light.
That's a good answer.
So one's a cell phone sensor and one's a TV camera sensor from the 50s, like in, what the fuck is it, those black and white sensors, basically?
Yeah, kind of. Maybe not as old as the 50s, but you kind of get the point with it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I know that when you're trying to use, black over white or whatever, a lot of the things that seem to give off a lot of heat in the infrared thing, it seems a bit strange. Like sometimes you get trees that seem to glow extremely hot when you're trying to look for a fucking tank.
That's the thing I suppose that's why they haven't done it yet. I think that's quite a big job, isn't it, to actually model the thermals correctly, isn't it?
You just give it a value, but yeah, I suppose it's to have like not just an even whiteness all over kind of thing, yeah. I'm sure they said they're going to work on it. It's a future thing, isn't it? It's just not on the priority list.
Yeah, when they did the interview for the Mi-24, there was talk of, are the Mi-24s going to get, not Vickers, get Igla 5s, which is the surface-to-air missiles that we usually get shot at by enemies. But they were saying that our Mi-24 didn't carry the Igla 5s, however, it does use R60s, but they're not going to put R60s on until after the IR weapon rework. And hopefully that means like our IR MAVs and the whole IR setup for DCS will get fixed for that.
Fingers crossed.
Hey, somebody in the 18, or you don't have to necessarily play an 18, but somebody want to help me test out the countermeasures in the 18? I just need you to lock on to me a few times.
They went shoot at him with rockets.
Actually, I will need you to shoot him.
Who's that? Where are you?
I haven't spawned yet. Or I'm on the Lincoln, I haven't taken off yet.
Ito,
Send.
look at Red 4 chat. And tell me that doesn't look pretty sexy.
It looks nice. I like it.
Apart from Photoshop wanting to crash. He's crashing everything. I export the right inside of the aircraft.
Yeah.
So I'm having to select it all and then copy and paste it into GIMP and use GIMP to export the right inside of the aircraft.
Ew.
GIMP's okay, but man, it's not as good as Photoshop, is it?
Yes, I'm using
It's kind
Photoshop.
It's kind of goofy to use.
Krita's good too, and it's free.
What's it called?
Krita, Krita. It's much closer to Photoshop.
Oh, okay. I'll have a look at that.
So in the 18, in the flare page, if I right sensor select, is it once, is it twice goes to more track?
What?
Sure, I'm yeah, on the lightning pod, when I sensor select twice, obviously once for sensor of interest, so if I do it again it goes to track, doesn't it?
Yeah, point track.
Point track. Yeah, point
Is
track.
it good? Oh, okay. I wonder if it went to area track first or not.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So you start in free mode, then you go to area track, then you go to point track.
Yeah, the point track's got a little box around the very centre of the crosshair, if you know what I mean.
And that follows the vehicles, doesn't it?
Oh, I can't remember.
Yes, it does, but it first have to recognize the vehicle, so it must lock on. You see it jump a little, then it's locked on, and then it will follow the vehicle.
So normal mode has the diamond show. Okay. What do I use that one for? I can't remember.
Just to look around on the ground.
Okay.
You can also fire. I mean, the bombs will fall while you're looking at that point, but I think it's not so stabilized. I'm not sure.
And attack. The attack plan. Because it toggles basically from the diamond to the attack to the point track, isn't it?
Yeah, so diamond, area track, point track, and then back to diamond.
I'm just trying to find the heat sort. I was trying to find this tank number. Wouldn't say fire on you, obviously, he's not firing on you. He's mobile as well. And undesignate puts you either in snowplane mode or vector, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
I can't remember without actually doing it.
Good night, traffic identity, taxi 433.
How do I slave my Maverick to the lightning pod?
First time when you select the Maverick first time, it will slave automatically. After that, you just have to press uncage.
I am enjoying this Harrier sound rework though.
Is it not a hairdryer anymore?
Well, it is, but like when you're in cockpit, it's no longer like shrieking bad. But from the words from Elmo over at Razbam is that they were trying to make it as realistic as possible, which means that pretty much they said your ears will bleed at some points. Because that's just how the Harrier is.
Yeah, it's the loudest airshow plane I've ever heard other than like a F4.
Because of that big ducted fan.
You call the Harrier the loudest?
Extremely loud, yeah.
So, have you heard the Vulcan?
No, because I'm American, I'm sorry.
YouTube the Vulcan.
I watched
Vulcan
videos.
Hell, specifically.
I mean, obviously that's not going to do it justice.
Oh, it does.
Concorde's loud too.
Must say
Never
the
got to hear
loudest, the loudest aircrafts I've heard have
Oh, a B1.
originally. I haven't. I may have heard a B1 takeoff, but F-35 takes the cake for probably one of the loudest aircraft I've ever heard.
When you lot sent an F-35 over to Riyadh in 2017 or 18, I think it was.
Taking off 3-3, or can I go?
Them
You go.
flywise at full power,
1-5,
I think it was at Mill.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing like it. It's like a F-16 had sex with an F-22's engine and made it
Yeah.
meaty.
Yes, the 35's engine. I didn't realize how loud it was until when I was in New Mexico and I got to see the German Tornadoes and stuff. I thought the Tornadoes were loud, but most of the time is when they were banking away and going burn to a turn was when they got really loud. We had a 35 that didn't even bank; it was just flying straight and level, and it was already louder than the Tornadoes.
Crimps, Nibbler inbound.
Good out of traffic, I 219 at runway 33, straight out departure.
I have to agree with Danny about the Vulcan. When I worked at Lynham and it was based there on its last 4 or 5 years, we were doing engine runs on it, so we were stood underneath it doing an engine run. That was loud.
It only makes that sound because it can't support the amount of air it needs, correct? So when you put it to I think it's 90 something odd percent RPM, the engines take it that much air, it makes it scream. Because it can't, the intakes can't support that much air moving upwards.
Yeah, if memory serves me right, the big reason why a lot of aircraft howl is a lot of how the air gets funneled into the intakes.
Yeah,
if you want an aircraft with a really good howl, look up the F-104. That aircraft has a howl.
That's got a loud. Yeah, it does.
You can hear that stuff. You can hear the F-104 and War Thunder before you see it.
Yeah, well, War Thunder doesn't do it justice. It's how it's like the thing. Like if you didn't see the aircraft or know it was coming, you would think there's a devil or a demon coming after you over the hills.
Yeah, but then you only know it's behind you as it's gone past you.
Yeah.
At 10,000 meters, already going Mach 1.3.
Yeah.
Question to the A10 pilots here. What is the minimum distance that you need to be between? What's the minimum distance there needs to be between you and a target when you're firing the APKWS?
As close as you want.
3.5 feet.
Probably 3K.
Yeah. With the minimum distance, it all depends on how good you are at aiming. Because if you suck at aiming, you're gonna have to be further back for the missile, for the APKWS sensor to actually guide on the target. But if you're fairly decent with your shots, you can be relatively close and the rockets will go straight in. But I would put a good standoff distance to say, yeah, I'm done with the rocket strikes at just under a mile. Like about 0.8 of a mile I would break off.
Okay. So, just slave the Maverick, the IR Maverick, to the flare just in a normal mode, not track or point track.
One thing I do have to say is these new, the HUD and the MFD graphics changed. It is stupidly crisp now.
To
Dodge 4 on station.
Harrier?
Yeah, and the Harrier. They went to SVG for the HUD and the MFDs. It is stupidly clear now.
Pushing from waypoint 6,000.
Does the wind have big effect on the APKWSs?
For range-wise, it can, depending on if it's a headwind or a tailwind or stuff like that. It should be able to somewhat correct itself left or right with crosswinds, but it'll also reduce the range as well. You liking that, Danny?
This does sound different.
That is actually really nice. The MFD.
And all the MFDs.
You can see individual buttons on it. It's very nice.
Yes. Yeah, the weapon's got
I would like
a
that
sound
whole
update.
Change.
Yeah, I know.
More DMF.
I didn't expect them to sound that different though.
Yeah,
What does it
from
sound like? Is it like a lot different?
Sounds. I can't explain it.
I
I've
haven't
heard
played
that-
yet because I'm making this skin.
I want to say that like people have said that the Maverick and the 120 are you can tell when they've come off the rails. You can hear them, and they're a lot more, I guess, a beefier sound.
Yeah, it's like something like blowing something out of a pipe, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they're trying to match the real world sounds as best as they can, because I guess after the last update or so, people started kind of complaining about it.
Did you finish your checks with the ECM pencil? Parameters?
No, not yet. I'm just reading something.
So I just checked MiG-29 was spiking me, or SU whatever, and the Java came on automatically, and basically the lock was gone. That works.
Yeah. Oh no, I have tested the jammer a little bit, but I want to do some more fine testing with the countermeasures.
See if the semi-automatic mode actually works and picks the best program for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's supposed to work exactly. Like, Wags didn't really go over the keybinds in his video, or maybe I missed it. Okay, you want to test out? You want to go and play with somebody?
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay.
But I think we're not hesitating because my fuel is down to in 18.
Probably longer than that.
Good.
I'll wait for you to land.
I can land and rearm, refill, or respawn, whatever.
That's okay.
Where are you just starting from? Lincoln?
I'm on Lincoln, yeah.
Good. I think I'm gonna go down and join you.
I'm now happy my new
Negative
PC
respawn.
case just shipped today.
Is it me or is there a mist? It's quite misty.
It almost looks like there's like a haze almost, but I wouldn't say a
Definitely.
mist.
No,
No, it's
no haze. Yeah.
Ha ha ha, have all the APKWSs.
Sakumi and Fortretter on his finals, runway 030.
Oh, that looks really nice. Do you see that, Danny?
Oh, that is really crisp. Damn.
Yeah, and that's just the...
How far is it?
I'm currently 26 miles from target, and that's just the nav FLIR too. That's just, oh.
Request rearming. Copy.
What is it to get the teapot up in the Harrier again?
I won't be able to tell you because I don't know the Harrier.
Do you have the teapot equipped?
Yeah, but I thought there was a sensor select command you could do.
Yes, it is. Since it is, it was either. Yeah, it is. HUD select reject DGP. It is Q for me on the DDCs.
120 at 5,000.
Sensor select switch. It's either down or aft.
Pushing from waypoint 6 at 5,000.
I think it's down because down is when you press it. So you should double tap, I think, TDC down. And on the targeting pod instead of INS, it's going to say G-pod. That's what you're asking, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get pulled up right now. I'm pretty much rebinded all my controls for the Harrier, so I'm trying to relearn it now.
Oh, I have a big 2-sheet lists next to me on which you have my binds. So yeah, it's called sensor select, and it's 5 of them. It's left, right, forward, aft, and down.
Jigsaw, let me know when you're ready.
I'm just about to be launched. So Jigsaw ready for takeoff.
Alright, I'm launching. Oops, my wings.
You started already, don't you?
No.
You still be deck with me.
Okay, there we go.
Could you go test the jet?
Apollo, you want us to go to Alpha Channel?
Yeah, let's do that.
Leaving traffic, Nibbler, taxiing Cat 2.
You F18 or F14, Nibble?
I'm 18.
Alright.
Yeah, I thought I'd mix it up a bit.
Some nice changes to it.
What have they changed? Because I didn't read it.
New radar ones, ACM, new sounds. We've got like auto countermeasures and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's just
Sure
gonna
I've
put
used
in.
it yet.
Well, I must have a read.
Yeah.
I think the auto, the countermeasures modes are good, but it's not something I don't think we're going to use in real life in the game because it's just going to burn through them, isn't it?
Better get shot down.
Hey, Danny, have you seen this teapot footage? Here, let me roll back in. Yeah, this is at 6 miles and narrow view and zoomed all the way in.
Foxtrot. Over like this.
Dodge 5, airborne.
This was coming at me.
On the Harrier, how can I recenter my targeting pod so it's like aligned with the plane?
Nose wheel steering and designate.
Oh, where is that?
Yeah, it's a keybind of some sort. Undesignate. Target undesignate, I think it is. I have it bound to a push button on my HOTAS, so just hold that down to get nose wheel steering, but it's also an undesignate button.
Our air to ground target undesignate. NWSFOV.
That's it, yeah. Once you undesignate target, it'll center back to your bore site.
Really annoying because I've not fired a weapon, and when I've requested, we are refuel, all I'm doing, you're waiting like, a minute just not to get another missile on because I've got, I was fully loaded anyway.
If someone in the F18 would try to jettison his stores, I think store 7 won't jettison. I think we have a new bug. Freshly introduced.
Nice.
Well, the MI8 barely fits inside the that new tanker that was just, or the new whatever it is, that tanker vessel has a helipad in the middle of it. It just barely fits in there.
Where's that?
I just saw it in one of the other chats.
Dodge 5, passing waypoint 2 at 7,000. Dodge 5, engaging bandit at Bulls 310 for 100 at 9,000. Dodge 5, splash bandit at Bulls 311 for 100 at 9,000.
Pickle.
What time is it on the server?
It's day. And we also have wonderful weather, no wind as far as I can see or feel.
Anybody already in line?
Seems not.
Yeah, maybe we got a J11 down at the other end.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Y'all go first.
J11. Oh, there.
So J11's going first, or 33's going first?
I'm moving now.
3-3 is normally the active for Godar, isn't it?
Yeah, the autos are going the other direction, so I think everybody else is kind of going that way now too. But
I'm out of your way.
running up 3-3.
Get out of traffic, so we're holding short runway 33.
It's random. Two of my J cells have just gone off on a fucking tour of their own.
So we're lining up runway 33, good out.